don't chase average. Now that ain't the standard. Above industry standards. Built by commanders.
All right, dude. How's it been?
Good, man. We've been wide open here lately. It's been a pretty successful January. Looking back at that, of course, and then people in process are for sure the name of the game when you want to build a business that works. First of all,
How'd you
and then
guys get
second of
through
all,
that freeze? Didn't it freeze super hard over there?
not like really, man. Actually, it's funny. Like we got a couple different things here that happened. Yeah, we had a few days where we had some ice and some snow, and Knoxville kind of does get debilitated. Didn't really change much. Put a little bit of a crunch on some of our concrete work, but overall, I mean, we're still making headway, which is anticipated this time of the year to have those types of issues, but didn't shut us down.
That's good. That's nice.
Yeah,
So people in
yeah,
process,
yeah.
what do you got going on? Is it a people problem or a process problem?
Right. It's always, that's funny you say that because I think in every business there's, the old Hormozy approach. You've got constraints. You may have a data constraint, a people process, a money constraint. Those are the four main, right? And when you really start to dig deeper into them, you can put together a better way to solve problems. Because I think a lot of businesses, they just start writing standard operating procedures before problems exist, thinking that those are going to be the right solution. And they just go back in their little database of SOPs and go, well, let's solve this problem with this SOP. And I don't think that's the right approach. I think because some of them don't even need to ever be written. That's a problem you're only going to have once, right? And so people in process, overall last year, I think we've done a great job of, not spending too much time on problems that we know aren't going to continue to persist, and then building out the right systems around the people that are here to operate it the right way. So it's been great. And right now it's proven because the little hangups we've had, they're not hard to solve. And when we look at core values, they directly align with all of the problems that we solve and how we solve them. So that's our playbook. That's how we solve the problems. Look at the core value and walk through them, and starts with communication, starts with how did you listen to the problem and that the client brought to your attention, and then how did you come up with the solution, and did you, were you thinking about them first in the process, and had you made a bunch of excuses, because that's not something we'll stand for. So yeah, overall it's been good. How about you guys?
Picking up. We were really slow in January. We had very similar like Q3 last year, just a big bottleneck in planning and building departments. We had a ton of projects. We do have a bunch of projects that just kind of got held up in getting approved. And so
Sure.
now they're starting to spit out, so I think we're 2 jobs away from capacity.
Is that 80% capacity? Is that 100% capacity? Is that
About 80%. Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. So I always try to have 1 or 2 extra guys, because regardless, like a warranty is going to pop. Like actually, we had a lot of warranties, like cosmetic ones, pop up from projects like 3-4 years ago, which we still honor. Those clients, we go back for a paint touch up or a grout touch up, stuff like that. And we had like one that was a light was flickering. One of the recessed lights we put in like 4 years ago started to flicker, like very small warranty. It could have been the driver, the switch, whatever. But we went there, fixed the light, replaced the driver, and replaced the switch just for good measure, and it turned into 2 bathrooms, right? So like, which is why I like going back on warranty, because it gives us another chance to like talk to the client and see how they're doing, check out our work. And this client was still thrilled 4 years later. Like the kitchen looked like brand new still, which are like the best clients. They took care of it so well. And so then I went back and talked to them and brought our design team, and now we're designing 2 bathrooms for them. And that was really cool. But yeah, a lot of little warranty stuff popped up, which is why I like having some extra guys. But then we're also having a shift with some of our employees. We have that new business unit, Next Day Fix, that started up, and it's been really good. We've sold, I think we're at $30,000-$40,000 in sales with like $500 to $1,500 tickets. So like we've sold quite a bit, and we're looking at our second hire for that business unit. coming up here, probably beginning of March is when we're thinking about pulling that trigger. But that was a ramp up in itself. It's a little different because the other growth we've had is through acquisition, and they already have people, they already have work, they already have processes, and it's more like fine tuning their machine, and culture assimilation is huge in that. I haven't had an instance where we're starting a business unit in like a grassroots initiative, and so it came with its own kind of set of problems in a way, good problems, but nonetheless had to be addressed. Especially like sharing manpower, like how are we going to, like internally, we're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? Like if I need manpower at our handyman division, because it's a rapid service. It's called next day fix. Like it's implied we're going to be there rapidly to do the repairs or the handyman service. But if I have no manpower and KHB is still the breadwinner financially, it's very tough to like make that call. Like, do I pull from here to fill this need over here for like kind of brand reputation and let a day slip over here, or have maybe a 3-man crew is now a 2-man crew over here, not going to get as much done. So there's been some growing pains in that. But overall, it's been really good. Clients are happy. Jobs are going fairly smooth. We've had some issues with subs early on, which is like really galvanizing my resolve to own it all, like not rely on any subs. For whatever reason, man, flooring has been just a historical failure for us in the past 4 years. Like going in and doing 4,000 square feet of hardwood, you would think we're trying to cure cancer, like there's from leveling the existing floor to just timeline on the install. We're like pulling teeth to get the sub to do what they said they were going to do. It's very frustrating. And yeah, but overall, I mean, it's going well. Lead flows through the roof right now as far as we're seeing old leads, I guess, starting to compound a little bit, which is nice. Like the jobs that weren't ready to move forward last summer, last fall, are now calling us again. Like we had $1 million project about 10 minutes away from us that her husband's like a CFO and he travels the world all the time and he's in ag. And it was just like, it was bad timing for him. It was like around harvest time and there was a lot of stuff going on. It was coming up on year end. And so they kind of pressed pause on their design and their project. They called back and like, hey, let's get this thing going, And I'm like, yes, And so those types of scenarios have been happening. So it's looking like a strong year and I'm excited about it. Overall, excited.
Good. Sweet.
Yeah. Just once again, I mean, people and process, man. Our thing's been people. I'm tired of hiring and firing. I feel like our process is pretty good. It produces consistent results. It's just getting the right people in the right seat to do that can be challenging.
Yeah, I think I agree, and for us, I am still a major proponent of hiring on character. I really don't care much about how much you know about construction. I don't care about specifically, your entire last 10 years or if you've got experience or if you don't, because when there's a problem and you're all alone trying to resolve that problem, the majority of your experience or what you think you may know sometimes tends to dissolve a little, and it lands on character to resolve the situation. And so when I'm leaving people to make big decisions in our business here, whether it's out in the field in production or on the sales side, I would rather have someone that has a very solid character than someone that has a ton of experience and industry knowledge. That has proven to be one of the staple pieces that has built a strong team here, has built strong leadership, and has created, I think, a vibe or a buzz around our office, around the community about what we stand for and what we believe in. And it helps to have experience but everybody in your team, I don't think needs to have the same levels of experience. So between my sales manager, my general manager, and I, all three of us being general contractors, all three of us having, had combined probably close to 80 years of experience, there's not a problem we can't solve, but it has to be understood so that it's simple. And most homeowners, they act like they have a very clear vision for what their problem looks like and how to solve it. But the reality is, like, they're not the one solving it. They hired us to solve it. So, you know, we don't really need a lot of that. It's like simple, we've dulled it down to the basics, and it's seventh grade legible, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's been monumental and game changer. We still have a few people that, within the team here that have a little more experience than others, but overall, it's the way that we've developed our core values, our mission, the vision for where we're going, and then established what's acceptable and what's not, and go make some mistakes, like go fail a few here and there. I mean, that's going to happen. We're human beings, but at the end of the day, it's not necessarily like a priority to be a perfectionist. There's fewer perfectionists out there in the world of what we do. And I've seen this too, where I've found the guys that think they're the perfectionists, and at the end of the day, I mean, I too, at the one point in time when I was all on my own, I thought I was. But the hiring process that a homeowner is looking for, they're not looking for a perfectionist. They're looking for someone that can get them to the finish line. They know there's going to be problems. It's just how those problems are resolved. And a perfectionist sometimes doesn't have a good way to communicate the
Yeah.
resolution of a challenging, problem, right? They just start throwing their experience at it.
Well, perfection does not scale
No,
at all. At all.
no, no. So that's been, a good learning lesson for us. And, the more we grow into some of this tech stack we've eliminated some that are just like, okay, that's great, but it's overkill, or, we're not utilizing this piece of it to its advantage. Let's use more of it.
I have a question for you. Have you started vibe coding yet?
No,
No?
no.
Don't. Don't.
Is
You
that a
will-
shiny object?
You know what? It's definitely shiny. It's just such a rabbit hole because you'll identify like, man, I wish this did this way, right? And then when you have the means, especially for me, like as a dreamer, like as like I would view myself as a uneducated visionary, it's very dangerous because anything I can dream of and have a vision of in my head, I can make it reality in like 2 to 4 hours. I can have an MVP of like how this is going to work, how it's going to function. Like it's not going to be wired up. APIs aren't going to work. It might be on a local host, just HTML only, but I can visualize it, and that's dangerous because I'm obsessive. So
Yeah. No, that's overwhelming to me.
dude, look at this. So we are self-developed. And the other side of it is like you'll build something. It's like, great, it works. But then, you get a bug, right? And then something breaks and this breaks. So like you need a team behind you to kind of shore it up because even the best softwares have bugs and things happen.
Dude,
But,
SaaS is ridiculous. Like, I don't have any interest in building out programs. And
dude, so we built basically if Buildertrend, JobTread, HubSpot, Salesforce, Procore had a baby is what we built. And it's still like very rough, like as far as, but like we built out a full VoIP sources, built out like a full sales pipeline, and then estimating like all of our cost codes and operations, like projects with scheduling, Kanban table, but basically like everything you can think of. And the one thing I would like really wanted, because I was going through like our client experience, and I was like, man, I really want an AI to follow the full client experience. From like first phone call, we get like a score, like a sentiment rating, from the first walk. Every email has a sentiment rating as well, because I built like a little widget to track every email that comes in our company, and a sentiment, and then the response and our sentiment. And now I have like KPIs around how we respond to emails. Like, are we in a professional, friendly, tone? Because everyone's going to interpret a text or an email differently than maybe the author's intended meaning was. So I want to be able to quantify like our brand messaging, like how we sound. So I built that too. This is probably the coolest part, is like the client experience, where I went down the rabbit hole, is like, if from the first call from RingCentral or CallRail or whatever VoIP is tracked and recorded and has a transcript, just like our Fireflies or Otter AI, right? And we get a sentiment. That also gives us like a sales ticket, right? What do they want done? What's their timeline? What's their budget? That's going to go into sales. Then they have a grade from the CSR of like, this client is, a B plus, and here's why. Here's the scope of work. Then you go on the sales walk. That's recorded. Well, that whole walk gets put into here too. And then every follow-up email, every follow-up text, every follow-up phone call that's recorded is all living in this client's little, it's like their DNA is in our pipeline, right? Like how they talk, what's important to them. All the little soft skills that used to make a great salesperson great, because they understand the nuance of like what this person wants. How do I need to solve their problem the way they want it solved, It does that. And then at the sales to operational handoff, where historically has been our weakest point, it's fully contextualized. Because ops now has, from the first phone call, the 3 job walks, the 2 design meetings, the 1 meeting with the engineer on site. He has everything contextualized into this executive summary of how this person is going to respond to anything that might happen in operations. And then every day of operations too. That's all recorded and that's analyzed. And so that's what I mean, it's a slippery slope, because we built this and it's super cool and it does work. Like right now, like we're gonna be rolling it out in the next 3 to 6 weeks. Start, putting in real live projects and testing historical projects and making sure it all works out well. But just to do that, I had to recreate Otter AI and Fireflies and make them have a baby. We had to build out custom solutions for the VoIP and how that's going to live in our model learning LLM, so that it's contextual, because it's not like a wrapper. Like, this is proprietary AI. So we're actually building out our own database. It's not like call it an API call to ChatGPT and it's going and reading a transcript and giving you a summary. Like, it's embedded into a server that is living in the data, which is different, and that takes a lot of time and training too. So we had to create that. We had to create the transcript and recording. We had to create like a smart scheduler. We had to create a tone analyzer. We had to create like a brand resonance AI of like how we talk. And historically, our best clients receive our messaging this way. And that's what I mean. It's a really good, shiny thing, because it could be a game changer for IP for us and scaling, really. But it has been such a time suck for me.
I was going to say, that's
Yeah.
the first thing that came to mind. When you start thinking about implementing something large like this, what problem are we solving, right? And obviously, if you can brand specifically your intellectual properties to be your own, you're building everything yourself, right? You can't rely on an off-the-shelf program to implement that.
But what's cool, dude, is the way we're building it is modularly and wrappered. So it's true multi-tenancy. So for like, once this is built and it has my company's brand and our DNA inside of it, when I go, Control C, Control V to someone else's company, it takes all of their brand and all of their personality and all of their company's identity into its database, right? Mm-hmm. And so and obviously we're not going to be the first ones to do this, because it's a 3-man team working on this. It's me, my head IT marketing guy, and then we have a overseas employee that's working on this too with us. HubSpot's doing this right now, actually. Like, we started this like November, December last year. Then HubSpot came out with their contextualized AI for their CRM, because he saw the same thing that we identified in such an intimate, sector of the market. is AI is fucking pointless if it doesn't understand your business intimately, your customers' problems intimately. If it's just a wrapper pulling API calls and giving you summaries, it's pointless.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be the next big thing, though, for all businesses, having contextualized an intimate AI that's built around your customers and your company's messaging and what you stand for, your core values, is going to be the next big thing. So by the time we're done, I'm sure HubSpot's already going to add, $1 trillion to the cap table for it. But at least we'll own it. We won't have to pay a subscription for it.
Right.
Because it is saving a lot of money too. Once this is live, we get to get rid of CallRail. We get to get rid of Otter. We get to get rid of Fireflies. Get to get rid of Buildertrend. Google Drive as well, because we can self-host our own email and make our own interface for email. And we're going to be hosting everything on our own servers. So G Suite, which is like $1,000 a month, gone. We're going to save, I think it was like almost 40, 50K a year in tech stack.
Yeah.
And we won't even have to pay for Claude because we own our own LLM. It's going to be open sourced on our server. So we don't have any subscriptions for Claude, for GPT, for Gemini, like nothing. It's just proprietary. So it's pretty sick. And I think most companies are going this way. Actually, you just saw it in Goldman Sachs. They just hired Anthropic engineers to work on their servers and their backend, building out solutions native to Goldman Sachs. They were there for like 6 months building out these solutions. I think it was in their accounting department. And then they did a mass layoff, which was scary. But I think that's where it's turning, where it's going.
Yeah, I think every Fortune 100 should be thinking that, and 500 should be thinking that. I mean, yeah, when you can centralize all of it, it's helpful. I mean, every company I've ever worked for, that's exactly what they did. They got rid of their shelf bot programs they operated within and tried to create internal systems and servers to be able to do it all. Makes sense. I honestly, I questioned this a long time ago. When do you start that? At what growth in your business do you need to consider the fact that you've successfully gotten to the point to where your revenue numbers and your sales numbers have an exponential curve in growth to where your overhead didn't get more expensive. Now everything just goes right to bottom line.
Yeah.
Now you have a chance to free up some time and go back in and reconfigure a proprietary solution. In home services, everyone I talk to, typically you see it start to be a conversation around 15 mil, which you think about the systems that are out there right now you mentioned and the ones that like we're using now, they're great until you get to about 15, and that's when they start cracking and breaking and phone systems don't function the way they should, and call centers are necessary, or production management in a platform that you've got 35 users in is now 50 grand a year or whatever. I mean, that's a big chunk to chew off, and your markup then has to continue eat all of that. Like it's got to go up too. So it's like,
well, this all started with a call center, actually.
Yeah.
It started as far upstream in our process as you can think, because my idea of the call center was, well, I want everything tracked, everything. And I want to incentivize not just an inbound order taker, but an outbound revenue generating machine of a call center, where I feel like most people, their call center, it's inbound, right? It's warranty, it's new opportunities. I am incentivizing our call center to reach out. Like, go call the architects, call the engineers, call the businesses. For every business unit, for Next Day Fix, Hometown Stone, KHB, we have a solution for every commercial property and every residential property in our state. And so I built in our CRM, there's for the CSR section, there's a custom scraper that we built based off of Google Maps and Google Places API, where they can search any business type that we want to find in any county that we want to work in. And it just spits out emails and numbers for depending on which business unit. And then, so there's no downtime. If we don't have a ton of, we might get 10, 15 calls a day, they should be making like 75 And, so
Sure.
like 60 are going to be outbound. And for every outbound lead we get, they get paid. Like
Yeah.
if we win, they win. Because that's business. That's essentially, if you think about it, I mean, for our CAC, which is about $2,800 to acquire a customer for us in traditional marketing senses, it's a phone call. Like, I will gladly pay you for
Yeah.
bringing that lead in and getting revenue in the door. Where I talk a lot of HVAC guys and plumbing and electrical, like single service trade, service industry type, home improvement industry type, and their call centers are just lead takers. They're lead handlers. And I was like,
Yep.
dude, like make that go outbound, like give them some scripts, go hunt.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I mean, I'll tie this to my logistics background, where as a consultant in that industry, you're essentially responsible for all aspects of it. You're a full turnkey, cradle to grave provider that not only services the client once you can lock one down that trusts you, but you're responsible for you know finding that lead. We used to sit and create those scraping mechanisms that would find all of the warehouses that are over 3,000 square foot that have a dock door. I want, names, numbers. And then now you've got a call list and your outbound calls, 75 calls a day
Yeah.
or to those types of companies. And when you locked in about 6 or 7 of them in a market, you scheduled an on-site visit with one of them and tried to plan meetings with all other 4 or 5 of them, right?
Yep. Yeah, we built uh, based off of all public data we could have a permit scraper, and then off that permit, it pulls what contractor pulled it, or a homeowner, or architect, or engineer, interior designer, and then now we have 600, and it scrapes every week. We have 600 architects and designers with phone numbers, locations that we can call. And we also have a heat map of where are these getting pulled in our market. So we could go in here and say, okay, Modesto is like a bread and butter market for us. Where there's $3.3 million of what was determined as project value over 26 permits in Modesto. What's our market share, right? Of what of those projects is our core offer, and of that, how many of those permits are ours?
Right.
And then we can also, so there's a little outreach thing too. So on these permits, we can drill down into them, and then depending on who pulled it, we can look at the Google map of the property, the permit source, yeah, all of it, and just see like what it was, where it's at. And there's sometimes I find like a competitor takes a job from us, right? Well, I'm
Yeah.
searching and I'm figuring out, okay, when was that permit per? When was our last job walk with that client? Where did it leave off? Did they ghost us? Why? Has a permit ever been pulled for that home before by that contractor to see if it was a fake job walk? Because we've been getting a few where it's a competitor scamming us essentially with a phony job walk. And we can sniff it out pretty quick because we're doing all this research before we ever go on the walk. And so then we can kind of weaponize that job walk, because there's only like one or two competitors that are that petty, which I kind of appreciate in a way. But yeah, so like little tools like that where it's is it a shiny thing? Yes. Is it an edge though? Right? Like is it like a differentiator for us going into a market? 100%. 100%. Can we go and see every permit that person's ever pulled? What contractors they worked with in the past? And then have some information and ammunition coming into that walk. And ask rhetorical questions. They obviously don't know it's rhetorical, but I say, oh, did you ever have your HVAC serviced? Oh yeah, we had this guy come and do it, right? How was that experience? What did you like about their product? It just opens up avenues of conversation to talk about our process and how we're going to
Yeah.
solve your problem in our proprietary way that's going to make you happy. You know,
Sure.
so it's an edge. I really enjoy it, but like I said, I've built so much shit this past 6 weeks. I've built so much crap, dude. It's wild. Even at night, I stay up till like midnight, just vibe coding stuff because I can't stop. Can't stop.
Yeah. I mean, The time invested, I think, is the question that everyone's going to have that listens to this. How much time are you taking away from all the other things? And is that much of a priority that you're willing to do that? Or is this just shiny, right? And that's depends on who you talk to, right?
It's probably I during work hours because I think I have to delineate that too. Like while I'm in the office, it's probably 2 hours of my day. I would say that I'm putting towards like actual like concentration on this. Because a lot of times it's just I'll do a cron job, and like there's a Ralph loop is one of the plugins you can have for Claude Code. And essentially, you give Ralph a problem. It's Ralph Wiggum from like The Simpsons, who just doesn't shut up, just keeps doing the same thing, same thing. That's the whole purpose of this plugin. And so, like, I'll identify a problem the night before when I was building a feature, right? And it's going to take me forever to dive into the code source and refactor it potentially and change and make it more modular so I can test individual line code to where I'll just go to Ralph and say, hey, Ralph loop, here's the problem. Iterations infinity, right? Do it until it's fixed. And then after it's fixed, send an API call to Grok to audit your fix and then implement any feedback he has. And so it's just a continuous loop to where like I'm not actually working on it, right? I just identified a problem, put in a solution that is iterative, infinity, and then I'm working on other stuff. I'm, doing my job,
Yeah.
and then I'll check back in on it in an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then be like, oh, great, it got fixed. Well, here's the next problem. Go in the loop again. So I wouldn't say if you do it right, it's not a huge time suck, in my opinion. But if you enjoy it and you're kind of a dreamer like I am, it's dangerous at night because I'll just fix everyday little problems that I have with technology. I'll make a custom Chrome extension for reading websites and blogs. I built a flag football management app because I'm tired of Sports Connect, and I coach a lot of youth sports, and I built a solution to update my parents with AI. Automatic SMS text messages for when practice is, who has snack time, what time's the game, where you need to park. Because I hate those texts on a Saturday morning before the game. Where's parking? Who's bringing snack today? What time are we showing up? Like I built an AI through my little, it's called pullthatflag.com, to just fix it, right? I have all my plays in there. I have all the kids in there. I have what they like, what they don't like. I have the rule book in there so parents aren't bugging me about what's a flag, what's not. It's like, go ask the rule book AI. Like, Coach Flaggy, so like things like that, which actually I'll show you that because that one's actually I think has some feet on it. I think that one could be profitable because all these other. But once again, I honestly think SaaS is like dead because if a caveman like me can get output the way I've been getting output, you have to imagine these Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies are just having teams of 500 computer science engineers and PMs on this, building out. Yeah, I think Salesforce is dead. I think HubSpot is dead. I think the only benefit is if you pay for the subscription still, you don't have to worry about managing it. But truthfully, with how fast and all the self-healing loops that are getting built right now, AI is fixing itself. Like it's becoming agentic. Like it's very...
Yeah.
So I think in like 3 years, this is a bloodbath of a landscape, which also is terrifying because in California, my biggest clients, my bread and butter clients are tech, middle level tech that are making 200 to 500K a year in Silicon Valley, but they live in the Tri-County area. Those people are just getting hammered with layoffs. And that's what's really scary.
Oh yeah. It's definitely the double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, people are creating the solution that's replacing them,
Yep.
which is
Yep.
crazy. It makes me think about like the Optimus bots that might be coming out. That can like already lay floor and hang drywall and paint and put down floor protection. Like what happens when those just wipe out? Like, I mean, we saw it with Taco Bell and McDonald's, right? There's no more front service people. It's just a kiosk now.
Yeah.
That's going to be the equivalent of every single position that isn't skilled blue collar, but like entry level blue collar. how's anyone ever going to learn a trade now? Because you don't start by, being a one bucket guy mixing mud. There's going to be a robot doing that in 10 years.
Yeah.
It's super crazy, man.
I mean,
Hopefully Jesus comes back. Just
I,
make it
I can't
simple.
imagine hiring a company that would come to my house and provide a solution with, Optimus robots that I would be comfortable committing to. And even knowing what I know about how that all goes, and even a company that would stand behind it if they mess up and break something and they need to redo it again. I still just don't. There's something about the human interaction that I feel like I'm not the only one that feels that way.
Yeah.
Would value more over a robot mixing mud. Like I don't, I mean, even as crazy as this is, when I'll be in Orlando at IBS next week, right? And of course, the thing that most people get their eyes glazed over on it at IBS is all the fancy tools and the new technology and the things that can improve your efficiencies. But the reality is, there's always something new. There's always some fancy way to do it. The thing I've learned to just better understand is like, yeah, it's okay to, I think, bring a lot of that into your business, but you still have to be able to do it simply, like the basic way. We have felt here a Verizon shutdown recently that debilitated communication, and immediately realized, okay, well, how do we talk? Who do we have that can communicate? What software do we have that's online? Because some of it wasn't. That's a scary thing to think about. You lose all of it, and where's all your infrastructure, your database, your backup plan? What's the next steps? And if you've got it figured out to have partly done by robots, partly done by humans, it's the human can step in and go, okay, this is where I'm going to fix this. If it's all
That's
robotic,
what happens is, like on the tile side for us and in the tile industry, you typically have a setter and a helper. And the setters, making 30, 35 bucks an hour. The helpers are making 20, 21 bucks an hour. And that's just the hierarchy. And they're
right?
paired. Like they go everywhere together. Like this is my helper. Like he's with me every day. I think it's going to be more like that relationship to where you have a setter, helper, Optimus, right? And the helpers, I think in the good companies, the helpers are going to be more hands on with the setter, learning skills, and the Optimus is going to do more of what the helper did. Like, hey, go hump 50 bags of deck mud off the flatbed and stage it in the driveway.
I can't. I have 14% battery life left because you didn't plug me in.
I mean that could be a real thing too. Yeah, that could
Yeah,
be.
it's crazy. Like you think about businesses right now that are trying to run Tesla as
Oh,
their vehicles of choice to operate their business, and they don't realize that they're pinch holding themselves into, especially here. You've got a lot of hills,
mm-hmm.
so 300 miles on a battery charge doesn't go as far as it does in the flatlands in the Middle Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's your vehicle of choice and you're looking at topography and you get in and around some of these lakes and mountains, good luck. That battery's not lasting as long. And there are far fewer charging stations than there are in Middle Tennessee. So
And the cold,
the temperatures, yeah,
the cold
a lot of
helps
that plays
battery.
into it.
Yeah,
I see that stuff and it's like, give it some time. I think you're going to still see electric assisted vehicles. I think that's huge, but you still have a lot to grow on to build a whole business around
yeah,
stuff like that. Charging batteries is funny. I think every contractor has a problem with that. They've created this tool station in their shop to be able to circulate and charge batteries, and they got a standard operating procedure on how they cycle and circulate batteries. So they don't all get used every day, and then they've got the charging stations in their trailers or job site trailers, and they're run by solar. And it's like, how long's a battery really good for? you know,
yeah. It's a good point. It's a good point. I don't think well, I have two parts to this. And the contractors like us who have been in business and we have our tried true way of doing things,
Yeah.
I don't feel guys like us are going to fully adopt and let robotics, AI completely take over our companies, because I do think we see the value in face-to-face interaction and
Sure.
proprietary process and humans in general. I do feel though in 10 years the same asshole who's just like me that came into the industry with all these notions and beliefs about technology and how to automate and make the industry better and more efficient and all this stuff. There's going to be the same guy in 10 years who's wired just like me, but all he knows is Optimus robots and all he knows.
Yeah.
And he's going to start his company from the beginning with robot employees, and he's never going to have a human employee, and it's going to be on the news, and it's going to be this huge big thing, and that's where the shift's going to happen. Because I don't feel our current industry is going to do that, but I do think some Palmer Lucky asshole is going to come into the scene and be like, I created Oculus, and now I'm creating bombs with Anduril to take over the world. I'm going to get into construction. I do
Yeah.
see that happening.
Now he's on the NSA list.
Yeah, but
Yeah. That's a funny way to think about it. Think about like what 2050. Let's pull a contractor off the shelf from 2050 who's
mm-hmm.
got that already implemented and just drop him into 2026 and teach him how to operate the way we do. He's going to look at us and go, "You got no bots?
Yeah.
Why do you have trucks?
Well,
Why
which
do
is
you even go to the
crazy
job site?"
because right now, like we eat the old guy's lunch, like the one bucket contractor, the chuck in a truck, like we eat their lunch daily, at scale, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna be that guy in 10, 20,
Yeah.
30 years. Yeah, when you say, in 24 years, in 2050, we are gonna be that guy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird to think about how like that's just the way it works. Like the Yellow Pages was the best.
Yeah.
And then the internet came and someone's like, what's Yellow Pages? Like you
Yeah.
asked a kid today, what's a landline? You guys had to read an analog clock? Like I remember they said you'd never have a calculator in your pocket. Where are we at today? Growing up in school, when we'd ask for a calculator for the math test, I'm like, oh, you learn how to do it
It's on my
in long
watch. I
form.
mean, I remember,
Yeah.
Dick Tracy and his watch. I mean,
It's in
that
glasses
wasn't that
now.
long ago.
You can just ask your Ray-Ban Meta glasses, hey, what's 30 divided by 2? Like, oh, cool, 15.
Yeah.
Kids. So I saw a study about AI and the effect on the brain, and I sent it to a guy we work with, and he was like, yeah, they said the same thing about video games when they came out, but it actually showed to improve hand-eye coordination, all this stuff. But they're saying like people who are relying on AI to think, there's actually decreased activity in their brain, and they're getting dumber. Like we're regressing intellectually, and I thought that was interesting too, because like we don't let my kids at home. I have 3 boys. We're a no iPad, no, like we watch a family movie together type of family, and before that we shut it off. We read our Bible before we go to bed. Like we're reading. We're a reading family. We're not a
Yeah.
tech family. But a lot of kids, it's the iPad parents. It's, hey, listen to this.
Device.
Yeah. And I wonder how that's going to affect not only the job market, like in construction, we're already known as cavemen, but we're quite literally, when our helper is reliant on his Optimus bot and his AI that tells him what to do step by step, how much of this is getting used? You're
Well,
being-
even more, you start to use AI now as the visionary, and you're like us entrepreneurs starting to get creative with all these ideas. It creates almost this analysis paralysis concept. I mean, there's a lot of good ideas we've come up with that thrown at the wall, and then the problem is there's no execution of some of it.
Mhm.
So it slows down decision making without having a right team built around the process. So I'll tell you right now, like without a good integrator in our staff, the vision that I can create and the stuff that I can do is totally useless. Because now I have to physically be, if I'm not going to give it to him to be able to implement, he can't. I have to do that. And that is not constructive for the sake of time. You really have got to have a good partner on your team that's taking part in the conversation around the vision and the things that you're you're building up or dreaming around, and then saying, yeah, that's something we could stand up, or dude, no, that's there's the problem you're solving can be solved easier by doing something else or whatever. I mean, it's like you get too many ways to solve a problem, and it's all of a sudden now, all right, do I even worry about that right now? Because isn't there like a another program I can do to
Yeah.
to
Well,
solve this problem?
we have a quadrant of the I's, high impact, high importance, and the upper right quadrant. Like when we're making decisions, actually, I had a call with my ops manager today where I use the exact same framework. Where we have a project that has a 15-day runway to finish, and we had a
Yeah.
couple guys call in sick. We're a little short on manpower. We're also a little stretched thin, to be honest, and we had two warranties pop up. Like I told you, warranties been popping up, and it's small stuff. It was like
Yeah.
nicks on my baseboard. They can live in their home. It's cosmetic, but we were sending
3 years
manpower.
later,
Yeah, and they're just yeah.
didn't get seen on a final walkthrough.
No, like it's probably homeowner damage that we just go and take care of.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. We're very generous with our
I
warranty.
can see. That does sound generous.
Yeah. Well, because I view warranties as a second opportunity for another project. So I
Okay.
view it almost as another lead in a way. I want to go back and touch up your baseboard because then I'm going to ask about your whole bath, and then I'm going to ask about your outdoor kitchen, and it's a gateway. Forget what I was getting. Oh, where I was going. The quadrant of the four, high importance, high impact. We had a situation today where we had two warranties going on. A couple guys calling sick. We have one job with a 15-day runway to finish, like COC, final inspection, done. And we ended up pulling a guy to go do this small warranty. Then homeowner messages us. He's a little frustrated about like the manpower and the staffing on his job. And so I went through that quadrant. I was like, okay, let's go through the highest impact, highest importance is finishing this job in the 15-day runway, right? Because that means we get paid. That means we inherently free up 3 to 4 manpower to go do these warranties. And we have a 10 to 20-day window to fulfill the warranties in our guarantee. So if we're going to be done there in 15 days, we're going to free up 3 guys. We're going to collect a $90,000 check on this almost $1 million renovation and have a happy client. We met schedule, everything went to plan, and then we can still fill the warranties within 20 days. I would say staffing that job that has a 15-day runway is of high importance and of high impact in our decision-making matrix here, where the warranty is of it's high importance or maybe not even high importance, but it's like medium impact. It's not, they've been living in their home since the renovation has been done for 3, 4 years. There's no quality of life issues with this paint touch up. There's no, you know what I mean? So like, let's get into that decision making to where I do feel our team relies on AI in such a capacity that limits their ability to execute decisions effectively. They're
Sure.
all, like it's when you have a stern email to write and you write the email out and then you're like, let's click the little Amazon or the little Gemini button to see, is what I'm writing okay? Is this, can you reformat this to be a little bit more direct or to sound a little bit more professional? It's that. It starts like that. And then
Right.
their thinking just becomes inherently incapacitated because they have a crutch of
Yeah.
Gemini. It could format my emails or OpenAI. It can think about the decision making high H or high I matrix for making decisions. It can tell me what's most important.
Sure.
That's where things start to become an issue.
Right.
At least that I see in our team. We get handicapped by our own capabilities.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, the decision making tree is helpful because it does break it down, but overall, it's like when you look at your scenario and how you resolved it's directly tied to, um, well, I mean, obviously money. You've got to solve the problem that
Well,
provides you the oxygen.
well, that's the filter, man. Does it make the client happy? Does it make money? Is it going to set us up for success in the future? Like that,
Right.
If those 3 are yes, it's a no-brainer decision, right? If our client's happy, we make money, and we're going to free up future time because we're doing it today.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
It's kind of like the delineation between like a critical path item. Like for your decks, right? Like you can't build a new deck without having the footings poured. Therefore, getting the footings poured is of utmost importance, right? Like you're not
Sure.
going to. There's other things adjacent to it that are important, but to build, it starts ground up. Uh, Same thing
Sort of.
here.
We build them backwards though.
How do you build them backwards? You go top down.
More often than not, yeah. Yeah, and here's why. The constraint of getting an inspection out for a footing when you can get a footing and framing inspection, it's kind of a waste. Why have two separate inspections? Get
So
the framing
you
in,
framing it, putting it on stilts, and then doing your inspection and then pouring.
and they're not poured concrete.
I love it. Are
They're
helical?
precast concrete,
Oh, precast. Okay.
and they're engineered stamps, so they really don't even have anything to inspect.
Smart man.
So eliminate the constraint, and the constraint there is time, um, confusion, because oftentimes you get an inspector that contradicts the previous inspector. So maybe you got a footing inspection, and then the framing inspection comes up, and that guy comes out there. He's a different inspector, and he looks over the footings. He goes, "Man, I don't like that one. That one's not good, but it's already passed."
Yeah.
Guess what he's going to tell you to do? Well, I know he told you that, but I can't sign off on the framing if that's not done. So reducing those inspections down to fewer inspections, combining them. Now, some counties don't like that, and guess what? I don't care what they don't like. We're going to appease them every way we're supposed to, but if I have an engineer stamp on footings, it supersedes what the county can tell me to do because it's structurally, signed off on by a state engineer. I mean,
Tough
you
luck.
don't have to. Yeah, tough luck. I mean, you're welcome to run it up the chain of authority if you want, but what they're going to tell you is the same thing I'm trying to tell you is that this engineer's taking the liability of it, so therefore you don't have to.
How many other deck builders are following that same approach because you started it?
A lot of them.
Yeah.
They're all starting to realize that they're losing. And so it's created this wake. It's just like when we started one call closing. When we started to teach that process here and we were doing it more and more, we were taking business off the market. And the homeowners that had met with someone else from a different company were genuinely nice about calling back those contractors, telling them, no, unfortunately, we're not moving forward. We've hired a contractor and they've found out that we've won the business. They all ultimately had to realize quickly that they needed to learn how to one call close. And some of them did, but unfortunately, they didn't get the psychology behind it. So they're very slimy about it. And now we're getting people calling us, telling us they want to meet with us. And we aren't their first call. We're the second or third call now. And we were originally going to meet with them, but that other contractor got to them first, took them off the market. And it's like, we don't, we don't want to hear from someone that's going to come out here and make us make a decision straight, same day. And our question now is, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. Just out of curiosity, what would make you believe that we're a good fit that we would offer you a solution same day? Well, everybody else seems to want us to have everybody, present for a decision today, and we're not ready for that. We're just information gathering. Okay, no problem. Well, our goal is to just come out and educate. So, I mean, if it's a good fit, yeah, we'll pop the question if we want to move forward, but not everybody's a good fit, right? We don't know that until we meet with you. So it's funny because it's the sales process that has created a bit of a disruption. Now we're in a process of building out the systems that I showed you with just providing a clear scope and not necessarily a kit, but what you get for each tier that we
The
provide.
productized offer. Yeah. Yeah.
And not to say we stick straight to that, because I mean, there's definitely things that we can adjust. But what's crazy is I always think like this when I was, early on trying to develop, the system, but I don't want to be sold a kit either. But what you can do with providing a kit is, look, we can do this, and then if you want these a la carte features, we can do them as well, but we would price those separately outside of this scope and do a change order in production to add those in. It's no big deal. And we'll do that as soon as we get to pre-production. So anticipate that you're going to have this contracted price today, and then when we start our pre-production meeting, we come out here, you're going to tell the guys that are here, hey, we want to do this, this, and this too on top of that. Perfect. And we'll do a change order and write it up. That gives them the chance to then physically estimate the detail of those changes to make them completely accommodate the schedule and, the budgetary requests that they have. Now, if they don't see the value in an extra, huge change order, then we can make adjustments there in that production process, just like you would a change order. But you got them on, you got them off the market in a contract, and they're moving forward. Just, and I've done them where we've built the deck, and then they wanted to do a roof covering over it, and the change order we proposed was higher than they thought, and now all of a sudden they're like, "Well, we don't want you to do the covering." Okay.
You know what just popped in my head? And it might be because it's like relevant to the Super Bowl, but that saying that was kind of the saying of the full NFL playoff picture. Take the points. If you could take them off the market and put points on the scoreboard, take the points. We might go for two later. We might do
Correct.
a Hail Mary and get the patio cover in construction. That's great, but take the points. Get them off the market. Get on the scoreboard. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, take the points, and I think it's tough for sometimes the sales rep to realize too that they may be painting too much of a vacation picture for them that wasn't necessarily anticipated or budgeted. So you've got to just be willing to start with something, get them moving on something, sell the next step, sell the next step, sell the next step, and you know it's I think the different approach, a lot of guys, they go in and underbid everybody else and they get the project, and then now they've change ordered the homeowner to death to the point to where, yeah, they made their money, and yes, the homeowner got what they wanted and they charged,
But it was dishonest up front.
but it's dishonest up front. Now
Yeah.
the homeowners paid probably a lot more for that same project they could have gotten with us, and they won't shake that contractor's hand. They will not call them back to come out there and check in on anything. That warranty is a joke because there's nothing in it that they're even interested
Yeah.
in, calling about. So
Well, I just won. I sold a bathroom this morning for our Swift Bath division, and I'm so we did the productizing the service because our last podcast, or maybe one back in December we did where you were showing me like your good, better, best, and I was like, okay, I got to do something about that. I did the same thing for our bathrooms, and at first I went out there in the capacity of KHB, and I was wearing my KHB shirt, my KHB hat. I showed up in my truck, had all my stuff. And KHB, our bathrooms are 80K, pretty much. Like we're defaulting to luxury, high end. And if people want that, great. But I came at it in an approach of the good, better, best. Like I can do this bathroom for 10,000, and here's the solutions for 10,000. It checks all your boxes, right? I could do this for 20. Here's the solutions for 20. Checks all your boxes. And then I could do this like full design build. And that's what we do at KHB in that capacity. And I sold it at $19,000, like $685 for this bathroom, and we took it off the market quick. All my other competitors, one came in at like 50 something, another came in at like 10, but like they were chuck in a truck, unlicensed, and we were just like the clear best option. And it was such like an epiphany of like, why haven't I been doing this the whole time? Because it doesn't matter if it's the $80,000 client or the $10,000 client. We are the best solution. We have a product that fits your needs. And yeah, it was cool. I thought about you this morning when that happened.
No, that's good. I mean, I learned that. I'll give a shout out. Marty Toma taught me that. Marty's in Denver, and Marty does outdoor living, and he recognized a problem within his systems there where his sales guys were coming back and they were starting to see a lot of clients that did value what Marty and his team were doing, but just couldn't afford what they proposed. And ultimately they would call for a deck or whatever, and they'd go out there and they would talk them into after they asked all the questions, we want low maintenance, we want all this and this, they build them a, high end luxury product that's triple their budget. And so, when you think about the old pie sale, right? And you're breaking down the different things that the homeowner has listed of importance, timing, quality, the budget, the product application, the company that's going to do the work, and you start asking yourself, okay, are we the best fit for this project for you? Okay, am I the right representative from the company to work with? Is the timeline that we discussed the timeline that you're comfortable working in? Are these products going to be close or similar to the ones that you were anticipating working with? Does the budget make sense? It's always, does the timeline make sense? All those things, as you check them off to try and close a sale, typically the one that's going to stick the hardest is the price. They're going to say, well, you're just out of, it's not a no, Nate. It's just you're not in the price range. Okay, perfect. So then what changes here? What would you like to take away from this scope so that it reduces the actual investment cost? And that's where having your productized approach works. And Marty was seeing that a lot of his clients were getting the high end solution and never really pitched on an alternative. So he literally called back over a pretty large period of time clients that they didn't move forward with and asked them if there was something that they would have made a decision on if they had an opportunity to see it. And they said yes. I mean, if it was a little less of an expensive approach, we would have done it. He says, would I be crazy to ask for an opportunity to come back out and show you a lumber deck or a cedar deck? He'd go out and close every single one of them.
Yeah.
So that's why we offer it that way. And then even more, you take that one layer deeper, all right, and you take those numbers and you work them into manageable monthly payments. Now you are a machine. You have the best solution. You have it priced out very competitively. Now you can offer it a monthly payment. Look, are you comfortable paying $300 to $500 a month for something like this, or $500 to $800 a month, or $800 to $1,100? Where do you feel like you could afford monthly payments at? What's most important to you? Is it the interest rate, the monthly payment, or the term? Well, I don't want this for the rest of my life. Okay, so I've got the money. I can afford it, but it's more to do with the actual interest rate. I don't like borrowing money, so no problem. Cool. I got a 12-month zero interest and an 18th month zero interest. So, you said you had a $50,000 budget. This deck's $100,000. The realistic, factor here is that you're not going to have to make a payment. Let's see. It's going to take me a month and a half to get out here. It's going to take me 5 weeks to produce it. Once it's done, you have 3 months deferred payments before the first payment comes in. So you're 5 months before you even need to have the money, other than just the deposit. So get approved for the 12-month zero interest. Let's use the bank's money for the deposit and the mobilization payment. And by then, you'll have accumulated your extra 50 grand or so. So you can start making your payment and you can pay it off early. You use those tactics, I think, and I'm just talking sales now, but I mean, overall, like that alone is a mechanism that companies that are growing fast, and the West Shore Homes and the you can name them all really, but those are the companies that have figured out how to develop that strategy and come up with a solution that's turnkey, and it can still be catered, it can still be custom.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be we only do this product, or Kohler is all we'll use.
No, I
It's a
love that approach. It's a game changing approach, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and you're
Of the
meeting your
sales.
client where they want to be met. You're providing them a solution that they can get on board with, especially when you offer the warranties. Like we used to pitch a 5-year warranty on our craftsmanship. Well, hey Nate, what happens in year 6 when there's something out there that I didn't think would happen but comes up? Do I call you or do I call somebody else? No, call me. Is it under warranty? I mean, call me in year 6, right? I'll probably help you out. There's probably nothing wrong. So yeah, I guess we have a 6-year warranty. Well, what about year 10?
Yeah.
Do I really want my competitor going out to look at a project that we did? And quite frankly, if a homeowner is willing to call you in year 10, you made such an impact on them that they value your professionalism and your educational process that
Yeah.
they do want to talk to you. They're not willing to call somebody else. So honor that. Go
Yeah.
and fix whatever it is. And sometimes at no charge. Because to your point, there's a pretty good chance that
Something
it
else.
could lead to something else.
Well, it actually, I want to say this premise had me rethink some of our core values in a way. And so every business unit we have like a corporate core value, like this is who we are as people.
Yeah.
And then each business has different demands of their client. Like for Next Day Fix, one of our core values is mutual urgency. Like we move as fast as our clients move. Like we want to be
Sure.
urgent as they are. Because a lot of times it's, 50 apartment unit, complex, and they need to get a tenant back in there because there was a water leak, right? So we have urgency. But one of them was honest broker of solutions. And I just loved the way that comes up in this sales process, because when I'm presenting, 3-4 different packages that we have a solution for their problem, my whole thing is like, I don't want to upcharge you on your faucet if you don't really need $1,000 faucet. I want to be an honest broker of solutions. That's what we stand for. Like, we are here to solve your problem in the way you want it solved. And this is your home. This is your kitchen, your bathroom. And I'm here because you want things the way you want them. And my job is just to give it to you where you're at, And so honest brokers of solutions is a new core value we're adding in our next quarterly meeting. I'm going to let the whole company know, but because it just felt so genuine to how we operate. Like, we're very transparent. We're very open. We're cut and dry. We're sympathetic, but we are nuanced, like we have perspective of things. And I just felt like it aligned very well with this. It gives us like another tool in our bag. Like, obviously we're a for-profit company, but with that said, the way we do our pricing is also an honest way. Like, we're transparent about our profit margin. We don't mark up your faucet. I have no skin in the game. If you pick a $2,000 faucet or a $200 faucet, I don't make $1 more profit. I do not care, right? I'm here to be an honest broker of solutions that best fits you and your family. That dead period, stop. That's it.
Which is very unique in itself.
It's a differentiator inherently, because most contractors, they have skin in the game, right? If you change from a $5,000 slab to a $1,000 slab, they actively lost money on that decision because they had a markup on that slab.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, bro. I got to button up though. All right, dog. Have a good trip.
Adios. Thanks, man.